Look at your phone screen at 3 in the morning. The city outside is asleep, but you are at the center of an endless storm. Hundreds of notifications, thousands of friends, an infinite news feed. Technically, you are connected to the entire world, but why, in this very moment, do you feel like the last survivor on a deserted island? This is the paradox of pseudo-sociality. The biggest lie of the digital age is that being connected is the same as being present. We have learned to simulate intimacy, but we've forgotten how to build it. We consume people as content, and they consume us, turning live communication into an exchange of dry pixels. Today, we dive into the architecture of your isolation. We'll break down how algorithms have replaced our tribal instincts, why we feel more attached to images on a screen than to real human beings behind the wall, and how the glass surface of your smartphone became a prison you built yourself while trying to find freedom. Welcome to Pancakes and Paradoxes. Today, we are deconstructing the simulation of intimacy.
Our brain is an antique. Its core firmware hasn't been updated in 50,000 years. Essentially, we are walking through modern metropolises with hardware that is still programmed for life in a small group of hunter-gatherers on the African savanna. This program has a hard limit, known as Dunbar's number. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar discovered that the size of our neocortex allows us to maintain stable social bonds with a maximum of 150 people. This is our tribe. Anyone beyond this number is just noise to our brain, background actors with no emotional weight. To survive in a real tribe, physical contact is vital. It's not just a nice addition, it's a matter of safety. When we see the real glint in a companion's eyes, smell their scent, hear the subtlest vibrations of their voice, or shake their hand, the brain launches a complex chemical factory. It produces oxytocin, the hormone of trust. It's the biological glue that tells us you are not alone, you are protected by the group, you don't need to constantly look over your shoulder for a predator. And this is where the evolutionary bug occurs. Modern technology has learned to masterfully exploit our need for people, but it feeds us empty social calories. When you see a friend's face on Zoom, an Instagram story, or a video message on Telegram, your brain registers a visual signal. Oh, a human. The visual cortex gives the command, target acquired. But the body doesn't get the oxytocin response. Why? Because the camera distorts the gaze. You cannot look into the eyes and the lens simultaneously. You don't smell their scent. You don't read the micro-tensions of facial muscles that in reality take mere fractions of a second. This creates a state that scientists call proximity cognitive dissonance. The brain thinks it's not alone, but the nervous system continues to signal isolation. We find ourselves in a state of social diabetes of the modern era. We are oversaturated with contacts, notifications, and likes, yet exhausted by profound loneliness. It's like trying to satisfy a real hunger by endlessly looking at photos of exquisite dishes. Beautiful? Yes, but the stomach remains empty. Moreover, trying to maintain a connection with 1,000 friends creates an overwhelming cognitive load. We try to cram an endless stream of random people into Dunbar's limit, those same 150 spots. In the end, there is no room left for those who truly matter. Our social muscles are atrophying. It becomes easier for us to send an emoji than to endure the weight of a real conversation where you can't hit the mute button or hide behind a filter. We are surrounded by digital ghosts who steal our time but cannot give us what our biology demands, the sense of authentic presence. We have become masters of imitation while remaining the loneliest primates in the history of this planet.
American sociologist Ray Oldenburg once introduced a crucial concept, the third place. The first place is your home, your fortress. The second place is work or school, the site of your obligations. But the third place is neutral ground, cozy coffee shops, public parks, libraries, bookstores, or just the benches in a courtyard. These are spaces where people meet spontaneously, where there is no hierarchy, and where the primary currency is simple human interaction. It was in such places that communities, friendships, and even revolutions were born. But look around now. Modern urbanism and the digital age have systematically destroyed these zones. Courtyards have turned into parking lots, parks into commercial venues with paid attractions, and small coffee shops have been replaced by impersonal chain giants, where everyone sits in their headphones, buried in a laptop. We have lost the space for the accidental person. Now every meeting must be scheduled, coordinated in a calendar, and have a clear purpose. We've forgotten how to simply be among people without a reason. And here, the paradox of pseudo-sociality reaches its peak. When real public spaces disappeared, digital platforms took their place. We were told, why go to the park? Here is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This is your new square, your new global forum. But there is one critical problem. A real third place is a no man's land where you can meet anyone. The digital space, however, is the private property of a corporation whose primary goal is not your socialization, but keeping your attention at any cost. Social media algorithms are not hospitable cafe owners. They are labyrinth architects who intentionally isolate us in echo chambers. You only see those who agree with you and only what you like. In a real park, you could run into someone with different views, hear a different story, feel the living complexity of the world. In the digital third place, you are surrounded only by mirrors. We have traded vibrant, sometimes uncomfortable, but authentic communities for sterile, algorithmically moderated news feeds. We pay for this with the disappearance of social trust. When communication moves from a public street to a private app, the person behind the wall stops being a neighbor and turns into an abstract avatar, a function, an object for debate. We have become residents of digital ghettos, firmly believing we are at the center of a global village. We have lost the territory where we could simply be human, left alone with the cold light of an interface that promises us the whole world but leaves us in an empty room. Every app on your phone is a masterpiece of psychological engineering. It's not just a tool, it's a cage built out of pixels. We think of interfaces as windows to the world, but in reality, they are more like mirrors designed to keep us staring at ourselves and our own projections. The architects of the digital world realized early on that to keep you, they had to isolate you. They had to remove every stop signal. Think about the infinite scroll. In the physical world, every book has a final page. Every conversation has a natural pause. Every walk has a destination. But the screen offers a bottomless pit of content. It's a mechanism designed to bypass your brain's natural stopping cues. By removing the end, they remove the opportunity for reflection. You don't have time to ask, why am I here? Because the next hit of dopamine is already visible, just a flick of the thumb away. This is the slot machine mechanic of the modern interface. Every pull to refresh is a gamble for social validation. We've turned our relationships into metrics. We don't feel a friend's presence anymore. We track their activity status. Friendship has been quantified. It's no longer about the depth of a secret shared, but the number of days in a streak or the count of hearts under a post. The interface flattens the human experience. It takes the messy, beautiful complexity of a person and reduces it to a profile, a curated set of data points for an algorithm to process. When we interact through these screens, we aren't talking to people, we are talking to avatars. And avatars don't have souls. They don't have bad breath, they don't stutter, and they don't have awkward silences. They are perfect, and therefore they are fake. This perfection makes reality unbearable. After hours of scrolling through ideal lives, the person sitting next to you on the couch seems insufficient. The screen becomes a barrier to empathy. It's much easier to be cruel to a cluster of pixels than to a living, breathing human being. This is the design of isolation. By making digital interaction easier and cleaner than real life, they've made real life feel exhausting and risky. We are being trained to prefer the simulation. The observer effect has taken over our lives. We no longer experience the moment. We document it for an audience that isn't even there. We stop being the protagonists of our own lives and become the cameraman of our own brand. And the brand must be fed. Every moment of silence or solitude is seen as a content gap that needs to be filled. We've lost the ability to be alone without being lonely, because the moment we are alone, we reach for the screen to escape our own thoughts. But the screen doesn't offer company, it offers distraction. It's a noise generator that drowns out the quiet voice of our own intuition. The algorithm is the new architect of our social reality. It decides who you should talk to, what you should hate, and what you should buy. It doesn't care about your happiness, it cares about your dwell time. And nothing keeps you dwelling longer than outrage and anxiety. We are living in digital panopticons. We are both the prisoners and the guards, constantly monitoring ourselves and each other for any deviation from the trend. The architecture of the screen is designed to make you feel like you're in a crowded room while ensuring you stay in your own private cell. We trade our privacy for personalization, not realizing that personalization is just another word for confinement. In the end, the most sophisticated interface is the one that becomes invisible. We no longer see the screen, we only see the world it wants us to see. We are left in a state of perpetual presence elsewhere and absolute absence here in the physical room with the people who actually matter.
Have you ever felt like you know your favorite blogger, streamer, or even an anime character better than your own neighbor? You celebrate their wins, grieve over their losses, and feel a genuine sadness when their story ends. In psychology, this is called a parasocial relationship, a one-sided emotional bond where you invest time and feelings into a person who has no idea you exist. This isn't just fan loyalty, it's a side effect of that same evolutionary bug we discussed earlier. Our brain isn't designed for a world of cameras and lenses. When someone looks directly into the lens and addresses you, your subconscious reads it as direct, intimate eye-to-eye contact. To your biology, it looks like a private conversation in a safe place. The brain simply doesn't understand that, in reality, this person is addressing millions, and you are sitting in an empty room in front of a cold piece of glass. The modern digital economy is essentially the monetization of your loneliness. Influencers don't just sell content, they sell the illusion of access. They share their breakfasts, their fears, and their vulnerability, creating the feeling that you are part of their inner circle. It's a surrogate friendship that requires no effort from you. In real relationships, you have to compromise, endure conflicts, and take responsibility. In parasocial relationships, you get all the cream of emotional intimacy without any of the risk. You can turn off a friend with the click of a button as soon as you get bored with them. But we pay a huge price for this ease. The energy we spend empathizing with pixels is energy stolen from our real-life loved ones. It's easier for us to sympathize with the tragedy of a fictional hero than to listen to the complaints of a real spouse sitting just a meter away. Pixels don't require a response. They don't ask for help at 3 in the morning. They are always perfect in their presentation. And against their backdrop, real people begin to seem too complex, too inconvenient, and not bright enough. We become emotional investors in a void. We donate money, spend hours discussing other people's lives in comments, and defend our digital idols with a fury that our real friends never receive.
We build our identities around these shadows, forgetting that at the end of the broadcast, when the screen goes dark, the idol goes back to their real life, and you are left alone with a loneliness that has become even deeper. Parasociality is the ultimate peak of pseudo-sociality. It's a world where we are surrounded by voices, yet have no one to call when we are truly suffering. We have become witnesses to other people's destinies, but have stopped being participants in our own. And the most terrifying thing about this illusion isn't that it's fake, but that it seems more comfortable to us than any reality. We voluntarily choose the warm glow of the screen over the cold but living wind of authentic human presence.
We live in an era that worships the death of distance. We were promised that technology would turn the world into a global village, where every border is transparent and every person is just a click away. And on the surface, the promise was kept. You can have a business partner in Tokyo, a gaming friend in Berlin, and a romantic interest in Sao Paulo, all while sitting in your pajamas in a suburb of Kyiv or London. We have become digital nomads, capable of projecting our consciousness anywhere on the planet. But there's a silent, devastating tax on this global freedom, the total erosion of our local reality. The more we invest in our elsewhere connections, the less we inhabit the space where our bodies actually exist. We know more about the political scandals in a country 5,000 miles away than we do about the person living behind the wall of our own apartment. We've replaced the neighbor with the follower. A neighbor is a complex, sometimes inconvenient reality. They might play music too loud, or ask for a favor, or simply exist in a way that requires you to negotiate your space. A follower, however, is a choice. A follower is a curated ghost. This shift has created what sociologists call place-based alienation. We are physically present in a neighborhood, but socially and emotionally, we are invisible to it. We walk down our streets with noise-canceling headphones, creating a private sonic bubble that screams, "Do not disturb my simulation." We look at our navigation apps instead of the landmarks around us. We have become tourists in our own lives, passing through our physical environments as if they were merely loading screens between the digital spaces that actually matter to us. The danger of this borderless existence is that it lacks friction. Real community requires friction. It requires the discomfort of meeting people you didn't choose to meet. It requires the slow, often boring process of building local trust. Digital connection, by contrast, is built on interest-based silos. We only talk to those who share our niche hobbies or our specific grievances. This isn't a village, it's an echo chamber. And while it feels comfortable, it is profoundly fragile. When your internet goes down or your account is banned, you realize with a shock that you have no roots in the soil beneath your feet. We've traded the security of the tribe for the convenience of the network. A tribe is a group of people who are bound to you by geography and shared survival. They have to care about you because you occupy the same space. A network is a group of people who are bound to you only as long as you remain interesting or useful. The moment you stop producing content or stop agreeing with the consensus, the network disconnects. And because we've neglected our local first and third places, there is no one left to catch us when we fall. We are living in a state of hyper-connectivity that masks absolute social poverty. We're like astronauts on a long-distance mission, communicating with a beautiful, distant Earth while trapped in a cold, silent tin can. We've mastered the art of being everywhere at once, but in doing so, we've lost the ability to be truly here. We are the most connected generation in human history, yet we are the first to feel like aliens in our own homes.
We walk through our rooms as if we're visiting a museum of a life we no longer live. The screen has become our primary residence. The physical world is just where we keep our chargers. Our neighbors are strangers with familiar faces. Our friends are data packets with familiar names. We have conquered geography, but we have surrendered intimacy.
We are connected to everyone, yet we belong nowhere. This is the final irony of the digital nomad. The more world you see through a screen, the less of it you actually touch. We are home, but we are not here. We are online, but we are not alive. So, where does this leave us? We've deconstructed the simulation, traced the wires back to the machine, and stared into the cold light of the interface. We've seen how our ancient biology is being hijacked by modern code and how our cities and homes have been redesigned to keep us apart. It's easy to look at this and feel a sense of despair, to feel that the trap is too sophisticated and the cage too comfortable to ever truly leave. But recognizing the paradox is the first step toward breaking it. We don't have to retreat into the woods or smash our devices to reclaim our humanity. We simply have to acknowledge the price we are paying for this pseudo-sociality. We have to realize that every minute spent empathizing with a pixel is a minute stolen from a person who can actually hold our hand. We must understand that connection is a biological reality, while connectivity is just a commercial product. True luxury in the 21st century is not a faster connection or a more expensive device. True luxury is anonymity. It is the ability to exist without being documented. It is the courage to be boring in the eyes of the algorithm. It is the strength to put the phone face down and endure the silence of your own company until that silence starts to speak. We have been trained to fear the quiet, but the quiet is the only place where you can actually hear yourself. We need to rebuild our third places, starting with the small territory of our own attention. We need to choose the friction of real life, the awkward conversations, the difficult neighbors, the slow, often frustrating process of building local trust. We need to stop being spectators of other people's destinies and start being the protagonists of our own. The simulation offers you a seat in the front row, but it never lets you on stage. The screen is a beautiful tool, but a terrible master. It can show you the entire world, but it cannot make you feel a part of it. That feeling of belonging only comes when you look away from the light and into the eyes of someone who is actually there, in the room, sharing the same air and the same fragile, fleeting moment. It comes from being inconvenient for someone and having someone be inconvenient for you. The simulation is convincing, but it is not alive. You are. Don't trade your limited time on this planet for a seat at a table where no one is looking at you. Don't become a data point in someone else's optimization plan. Come back to the friction. Come back to the mess. Come back to the silence that everyone is so afraid of. Because the only way to truly be connected is to finally, for a moment, have the courage to be here. Thank you for watching Pancakes and Paradoxes. Until next time, look up.